guys, and welcome back to the pig room, or welcome to the pig room if you are new here. I am really excited to be doing today's video, and I'm sure you guys are too. This has been one of my most requested videos to actually film for you guys. You guys seem to love these so much, and I'm really excited because I love seeing everyone else's enclosures and seeing what they're doing and what I could do, and just really having a fun time and seeing how all of our community is actually taking care of their guinea pigs. But before I actually jump into reviewing your guys' cages, I just wanted to make a little disclaimer before we begin. So when it comes to these videos, and especially when it comes to critiquing pet care, it can get a little bit of a fine line between critiquing someone nicely and looking after their pets and just being flat out rude. Now, I want you guys to know when it comes to these videos, I have your guys' best interest at heart, especially your pigs, and I want to make sure that you guys are doing the most amount of possible things to make your piggies happy, safe, and healthy. So I will be offering my advice, and by no means, I'm not an expert. I'm just someone who is sharing my experiences with owning guinea pigs. I will just try and find any little things that I think need improving upon, and also things that I do like and you should keep going with. So with all that being said, I think we should just jump right into the first submission. So let's get started. Alrighty, so don't mind me. I'm actually just going to be looking at my monitor right here and just looking at your guys' cages through my email. First one comes from Lindsay. And I did have you guys actually send me little blurbs about your piggies and your cages and stuff. And Lindsay says, this is a 2x5 CNC cage. It's home for my two girls, Thelma and Louise. Eventually, I want to add another pig, either a female or neutered male. Is this big enough for 3, or should I try to extend? So from the looks of it, this is a really great cage. It's an amazing size. I think seeing people go above and beyond for their piggies, especially when it comes to the length of their cages, really makes me happy. It fills my heart with joy. But this is a 2x10, which is really, really big. It's actually double the size of what I see as a requirement for 2 piggies. So they have plenty of space to run around and just do so many things. I noticed that you have plenty of hides, you have plenty of tunnels. There's a lot of interactive toys in the cages. So I definitely can tell that your piggies are probably not bored. I'll start from left to right. So you have their little kitchen area. I believe that this is actually a little storage container that you would use for like documents and papers for like business stuff. But you've actually DIY'd it to be a little litter box. I believe you filled that with hay, which is really, really awesome. I would just actually add more hay to that litter box so they can actually burrow in it a lot better, but really, really great setup. 2 water bottles as well. Those are the KT ones, which are actually the ones that I have. Those are super good. And I'm also noticing that you have the fleece pieces with all the rainbows on them from the dollar store. Really, really good. 2 pellet dishes. You've got that tree trunk hide, the plastic hide, a bunch of toys connected to the cage. The only thing that I'm seeing right now is the hay ball, the one that has the wires on it, the purple one. It's really impossible for pigs to actually pull out hay from there unless it's sticking out. So if I had to suggest to you something that I would change, it would just be to entirely move that hay ball out of their cage and not use it whatsoever. I do like how you have the idea of having 2 sources of hay in the cage, but I definitely think that just having, you know, that specific item just doesn't work well. It does propose the risk of having your guinea pig get its head stuck, and also it's just, they shouldn't have to work for hay, I don't believe. Another alternative to actually doing something that could work is another litter box just on the opposite end as you have in the kitchen area, and also 2, just filling a paper towel roll or toilet paper roll with some hay, and then that would be a perfect option for them. Really awesome cage. I really do like this. I love how you kind of included like this little shelf in there as well, which acts as another hide, and then also a little kind of cuddle sack on the end. And I also do really appreciate that they're on fleece as well, so I'm sure they're super cozy. In regards to your question, when it comes to asking if you think that this cage is big enough for another piggy, it definitely is. I would say that a neutered male, of course, has to be neutered, or another female would be perfect. I'm not sure about the dynamic and the relationship between your 2 piggies, but if they get along really well, I think it would be awesome to just add either or. I don't really have any other critiques. I think your cage looks amazing. I appreciate that you have the fleece draped over the cages just so it feels a little bit more safe for them. But yeah, thank you for submitting. Alrighty, so the next cage comes from Candice, and she says, this is my cage for my 2 guinea pigs. I don't want to butcher this. Ichigo and Sora. I don't know the actual name, but I kind of love it. They are a little over 1 and 10 months old. Their names are Strawberry and Sky in Japanese. Okay, so they're Japanese. I really like that. I wanted to thank you for all your advice on your channel. I've had 3 guinea pigs so far, and I've learned so much from you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So moving on to the actual cage itself, I'm seeing that this is an awesome cage size for 2 guinea pigs. There is a lot going on, and I mean that in the best way possible. There's a lot of interactive toys and hides and things for them to chew on. I really do like the looks of it at first glance. So these grids that she's using is actually a little bit different than the ones behind me. These are complete squares, 1x1s. These ones are actually a little bit smaller in width and longer in length, but they work just as well. They really do look nice. So it seems to me that they're in a 3x1, 2, 3, 4, which is a great size for 2 piggies. I'm a huge advocate in providing more width for the piggies just because they won't have to like run into each other and stuff. So I really do appreciate the size. I think it works really, really well for them. So working from left to right, I can see that you have a hay bag with also a litter box. So A+ right there, really, really good. You also have a cat scratcher. You have a little donut toy. You also have a really cute bumblebee hide, which almost looks like a beehive, which is super adorable. And also a demolished hay little hut, which I actually can relate to because all my pigs love that type of material so much. So it ends up actually not being a hide anymore, but that works just as fine. You also have the Oxbow little playpen toy thing going on. I have actually wanted to purchase this, but I'm not sure if my pigs would like it, so I've kind of been refraining. So let me know actually in the comments if your piggies like that as well, because it does look really interesting, and I would love to know if your piggies like that. You've got a little hanging toy, 2 pellet dishes, and you've also got one of those plastic castle hides, which is really nice, on top of a really fluffy bed. The only thing that I probably would say to take out of there would just be that fluffy bed. I think it's taking up a lot of floor space. I think just removing it and putting just a normal pea pad underneath the castle would work just as well. I probably do know your intent is to make them super cozy and stuff, and I'm sure they do enjoy it, but I do know for my case, my pigs love to just pull away at that material and eat it, so it's not the safest for them to ingest. But if your piggies don't, you know, obviously do that, then it's fine. But I think for the case of increasing the floor space, I think just take that out of there and just put a normal pea pad, as I said before. And I also really do appreciate that you have 3 water bottles in there. I've never seen the carrot ones. Those are super, super cute. I don't know who makes those. Again, let me know who makes those because I'm in love with those. And I also assume that you have some fleece on the walls just to protect from like spraying and all that kind of stuff, which is really, really smart. And I can also appreciate that you have them on a fleece because I can also see your little dirt devil in the corner. All in all, this is a really great cage. I don't think I would make any improvements. You know, as always, I probably would just say, you know, add more enrichment, but again, you have so much stuff going on. So I think that you're doing an awesome job and you're an awesome piggy owner. So yeah, thank you so much for submitting. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, so the next one comes from Brooklyn. Love the name, I used to live there. And she says, hello, I am looking to submit my guinea pig cage for part 2 of reacting to your followers' cages. Here is my cage. I don't have a description about the pigs themselves, but I just have one photo, so I'll try to do my best with reacting to this one photo. So from the looks of it, I believe this is a cavy cage, if I wanna say, just because I can see from the fleece and also the chloroplast, and then the storage units below, I believe those are cavy, and also the little fleece forest. So yes, this is a cavy cage. They are 2 guinea pigs, not sure if they're male or female, but they are living in a 2x3. I definitely think this is too small of a cage for your pigs to be in. I definitely think you should increase it by at least 1 grid, or even 2 grids would be even better. I definitely would think about increasing the cage size just because a 2x3 is technically only an optimal cage size for 1 guinea pig. I'm sure that your pigs get along. I hope they do. So I think it might be okay for them to be in this size. Obviously it's better than any pet store cage, but I think you definitely should think about increasing your cage by at least 1 grid because it would give them some more floor space, and I'm sure your piggies would enjoy that. Moving from left to right, I can see that you have multiple pellet dishes kind of in this kitchen area on Carefresh breading, I believe. I'm not sure if you have the Carefresh just thrown on top of the fleece. It almost looks like that. I'm not sure if you have like an actual cutout chloroplast like litter box situation going on. So if I am correct, I would definitely get a litter box. I think that would make cleanup a lot easier and also allow your fleece to stay as clean as possible. I think you should probably just get rid of the hay rack. I don't think it serves any purpose. I think having hay actually on the floor itself works just as well because they can burrow in it. Love that you have multiple pellet dishes for your pigs. Do have 2 water bottles. I would probably just put the other water bottle on another side of the cage or just further away from that one, just because fights can happen over certain items, especially when it comes to water bottles. So I think having them close together will result in that sometimes. So if you could have them separated a little bit more, I think that would be a lot better. But I do realize that they're kind of hooked to the same wire. So if you could actually find another wire and just hook it, you could also use a zip tie, which works as well. I don't want to be wrong here, but I'm just going to say what I can see. I'm thinking that I believe this is a salt lick or a salt chew, whatever you want to call it, is that I'm seeing, I'll actually zoom in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But these are not great toys for guinea pigs. They're actually not toys that should be given to pigs at all. They serve no purpose and they actually contain too much calcium. So completely get rid of that. It's not necessary. But other than that, you know, you have the Oxbow little jungle play toy thing again. I don't know what it's actually called, but what the other person in the last cage had, you have as well, which is really awesome. You have a little purple hidey house, which is one that I actually have as well. Really, really great. And then a fleece forest. So yeah, I think this is a great cage. I think that you have, you know, 2 hides with the fleece forest and the little plastic hidey house, have a pile of hay, which is really nice. You've got some toys for them. But the only thing that I just will say is just increase the cage size, because pigs are very active. And when a majority of the space is taken up through a kitchen area and also items in the cage, they technically don't have a lot of room to move around. So yeah, if you could, I definitely would increase it by 1 grid. But nonetheless, great cage, and thank you so much for submitting. So the next cage comes from Hannah, and she said, these are my cages for my 4 guinea pigs. The cages are currently messy since it's the morning and cage cleaning day is today. In the bottom cage, she has Bailey, who's 2 years old, Willow, who is 2 years old as well, and then Noelle, who's 1 year old. They share a 4x3, and on top she has a 3-month-old named Mabel, and she's in a 2x4 with 2 1x1 extensions on the side. She's a skinny pig, so she has a heater on the ceiling to regulate heat in the winter. So from the looks of it, this looks really, really interesting. I love the kind of geometry that's going on right now with your cage. So as she mentioned, she has 3 guinea pigs in a 3x4. If you guys don't know, this is actually in comparison to a 2x6. So I definitely think it works well for 3 guinea pigs. Again, I just say go bigger, go better. So if you can provide more room, definitely do it. But from the looks of it, I can definitely tell that you're using the most amount of space with what you have. So I think a 4x3 works really well, especially for females that get along. So starting on the bottom cage, I can see that you have a little kitchen area. I probably would just scratch the hay rack that you're using and just get the litter box and just put a bunch of hay in it. I probably also would suggest getting 2 litter boxes, just because having 3 piggies, they go through so much hay. So I think it would be a lot better for you to have 2 litter boxes and they can just really have a fun time with it and eating. You've got 2 tunnels, a little crinkle one, and then also one by Guinea Dad. You've got the one, I believe that's from Walmart. I do have that as well. A little bed, Guinea Dad liner, and then a couple pellet dishes, and then 2 water bottles. I would love to see some more hidey houses, just because having 3 guinea pigs, they love to hide, they love to just, you know, be cozy and stuff. So I think adding any type of more hidey houses would be really, really great, just because the Guinea Dad tunnel doesn't really act as a hide, because, you know, it's not really comfortable for them to lay in. But I do appreciate having that little crinkle tunnel in the back, just because that does act as a hide. They can lay in it. But again, if your piggies are comfortable with laying out in the open, that's totally fine. But nonetheless, I really do like it. And I also appreciate having some Christmas lights underneath, because it does get very dark when having those 2-tier cages. I can relate to that, as you guys can see behind me. And then moving on to the top, we have our, what was her name again? It was Mabel. Mabel, who's 3 months old, and she's a skinny pig. I loved, love, love that you used the max amount of space when it came to doing this cage and giving her those 2 extra 1-cube extensions. So one of them has the side where her litter box is. Really, really great. And then we've also got some hidey houses inside of there with some cuddly items and then some toys. I'm actually not sure why she has 2 water bottles. Maybe she just drinks a lot of water. But if she just goes through one at a time, I probably would just take one of those from the top and just move it to the bottom, just because you have 3 girls. So I think it makes a lot more sense to have one down there and just have 3 water bottles in total, so they can all have one. But nonetheless, really, really great cage. I love that you ended up actually extending the chloroplast in the back to be super high, just because guinea pigs can spray quite often and it gets messy on the walls. So that will help to protect your walls. Also, seeing that you have the Target bath mats, I cannot rave enough about those. They are really, really great, and they're just so easy for cleanup. So I'm sure your piggy is enjoying the comfort of that. I really don't have any other critiques, probably other than just adding more hides and toys. But yeah, thank you for submitting. Alrighty, so the next cage comes from Taylor, and she said the bottom cage is a 6x6 and the top is a 2x4. The bottom has my herd of 6, 1 neutered boar and 5 sows, and the top is a lone boar. He will be getting an upgrade soon, and I'm finding him a buddy. His buddy passed away a couple months back. I'm very, very sorry for your loss. It's definitely not easy having a lone pig. Even just having my own lone pigs really, really sucks, but losing a pig is even worse. So I definitely hope you find him a friend. But from the looks of it, you are going above and beyond for your piggies. I'm impressed right off the bat. Like, just from the looks of it, your cage looks so freaking amazing. I am such a huge fan of these big square cages. I think just having so much room to run around rather than like one long cage works a lot better. So you've really just used up that entire 2 tables to really make sure that your piggies are nice and happy and have a lot of room. Starting with the bottom one, Taylor, trailer, you've got so many things for your piggies to do. You've got tunnels and little hidey houses, fleece forest, multiple kitchen areas, water bottles. You've got the bee's knees going on here. This is incredible. I don't even know if I have any critiques to say. I truly don't think I do. This is really, really great. I wish I had a closer picture of your piggies just so I could see the cuteness of them, but I can see the top one, your boar who's up there, and he looks really, really cute. I love his coloring. But with the bottom cage with your 5 females and 1 boar, I just really like what's going on here. If I had to say, I probably would just add more water bottles just because the water bottles are also close together, so spread them out. But also get maybe 1 or 2 more, just because I'm sure they're going through a lot of hay and getting thirsty, so it does not hurt to have more water bottles within the cage. But nonetheless, this is really, really great and awesome. I also love that you have so many toys for them as well, so I'm sure they don't get bored. And then moving on to the top one, who is your single boar. He is living in a 2x4. I think this is an awesome cage for a single boar. I actually have a lot of mine in a 3x3, which is in comparison to a 2x4, so this is a great size. You have plenty of things for him to do and items for him to play with. So many toys, a fleece forest, you've got a wooden hidey house. They are on fleece, of course, the guinea dad liners and pea pads, and you've got a really great kitchen area for him as well. I do see that you have a hay rack. Is that a hay rack? It is a hay rack. It doesn't look like a typical hay rack that you would buy from a pet store. It almost looks like one of those planters that you would find at like Home Depot or something. So I think that works fine just because I can see that the holes are a little bit larger for him to actually grab the hay from. So I don't mind you using that. I think there's a load of hay for him to munch on. But yeah, this is really, really great. Is that my pea pad? I don't want to say it is, but it looks like it. Did you buy something from my Etsy shop? Because it looks pretty similar to the one I have. This is the government official one, my pea pad that I saw on my Etsy. So let me know if that is. I'd be really curious to know. But nonetheless, you are spoiling your piggies to death. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure they're happy. And again, I really hope you find your lone pig a buddy. So yes, thank you for submitting. Alrighty, so this cage comes from Beck, and she has 3 girls living in it. And she says she changes the cage around every single time she does a deep clean, and she's asking if there's anything she could improve upon to add on or make better. So here is her cage right here. It looks to me that it is, again, a cavy cage, a 2 by, let me see real quick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I can't really tell. These photos are a little bit dark. Okay, I want to say it's a 2 by 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're in a 2 by 5 CNC cage, 3 girls. From the looks of it, you've got a designated kitchen area with some litter and also a hay box. You've got a wood hidey house and then a fiddlestick tunnel, which is really, really great. I love things that act as a hide and also as a chew toy. And then you've also got some pellet dishes on the other end with a water bottle. I am only seeing, oh, I do see 2 water bottles, so that's totally fine. I think that at least having 2 water bottles with 3 pigs works really, really well. I would just say add another one just because you wouldn't have to be filling up water bottles so much. The only thing that I will critique you on is that I am noticing that your pigs are on towels. Now, if you guys don't know, towels act as an absorbent layer when it comes to using fleece. Typically, when you're using fleece, you should have an absorbent layer, in this case, towels underneath. And that way the pee is actually drawn through the fleece and then into the towel, and then it just sits there, and that way the fleece remains dry. So in this case, if you're just using towels, the pee is actually just going to just stay in the towel and not go anywhere and just stay wet. So that can really be unsafe for your piggies because them sleeping and being around pee so much can be detrimental to their health and cause a bunch of like bacterial infections and stuff like that. So what I will say is that I think that you should definitely put some fleece on top of the towels. Please make sure it's wicked, of course, because that's the most important thing. Yeah, definitely get them off towels because it does get really nasty very quickly. And also when it comes to absorbency, it doesn't work the best because it just retains the water and doesn't go anywhere. Again, I would just add more toys and hides just because you can never go wrong with too much enrichment for your guinea pigs. And I also kind of like the way that you DIY'd or did a little bit of a twist on the pig igloo and kind of turned it upside down and added some fleece in there to make it act as if it's like a cuddle cup or something. So that's really, really creative. I like that idea. But other than the critique of just adding some fleece instead of the towels, I think that's all I got for you. So yeah, thank you for submitting. Alrighty, guys. So the next one comes from, oh, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Neva? I'm so bad at names, you guys. I'm so sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. But she is 14 years old. She has 4 guinea pigs, 1 female and 3 males. Their names are Snickers, Ho, Theodore, and Winston. You picked the right name there. The cage is a 8x2 CNC cage. They each get a 4x2 cage. I tried to bond my boys, but it didn't work out. So they are all in separate cages, but still get to see each other. Winston has a heating pad under his house to keep him warm. And I am also working on getting lights for the bottom of the cage so it isn't so dark. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out her cages. But first, let's check out these little piggies. Oh my goodness. So freaking cute. Your little goodie is so cute. I love how they're all opening your mouth as well. That's so funny. From the looks of it, these cages actually look very, very similar to mine. They look actually dead on to mine, which is really, really cool. I'm glad to hear that you tried bonding your boys with each other. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out, but I'm glad you tried it out anyways to see if it could work. But I definitely think that you are doing the best possible thing for your boys when it comes to providing them a good amount of space. Having a 2x4 is a great size for one piggy, and being able to interact with the pigs through the bars is really, really great as well. So starting from top to bottom, it's almost like kind of like a replica of the cages. Oh, I think were you the one who messaged me about actually making your own cage that was similar to mine? I don't know. I've messaged actually a couple people that wanted to make cages like mine, and we're going to do it. And I offered some advice and stuff like that. And also in my videos, I show like kind of like a tutorial. So I believe you might have gotten this idea from me just because they do look pretty similar to what I did. But I'm also noticing you are a pig room supporter because you have a cloud squish tunnel. So thank you so much. I'm really hoping your piggies enjoy it. But I love how the top cages have a similar theme going on and match like perfectly with the two shark hides and also the same fleece. Really, really cute. You've got two tunnels for them. You've got the Target bath mats. I actually love that color. And then two water bottles, which are really, really great for the piggies, and also really big as well. So I'm sure you're not filling up those water bottles too often. I am noticing that your female is actually on the upper left level, if I'm correct, which is going to make her next to one of your males. I do know that guinea pigs can breathe through the bars, so definitely be careful with that. If I had to make a slight suggestion, I would just say get a piece of plexiglass and put it where the barrier is. You can do it in combination with the grids themselves because that'll allow the pigs to still see each other, but allow them to not breathe through the bars, because I'm sure you don't want to end up with any piggy babies because it can get very dangerous when you're breeding two different breeds. So that's what I probably would suggest if you could make a little bit of a change to the top cages. And then moving on to the bottom cages, very, very similar setup to the top ones. Great size for lone piggies. They've got all their essentials. They've got a hay bag, plenty of hides, toys, all kinds of things. So really, really great cage. I definitely don't think I would make any improvements. Yeah, great job. Alrighty, so the next one comes from SuusPappas, I believe that's how you say it. But she is 12 years old from Finland and has two boars. Their names are Saasu and Pappas, I believe that's how you say it, and they're 3.5 years old. They live in a 4x4 CNC cage with a 2x1 section with wood shavings. Heating radiator is in use, but my piggies can go away from the heat because the cage is so big. Okay, so what she's saying here is that she has a radiator actually next to their cage, but it is big enough for them to get away in case it gets too hot. So it looks to me that she has her cage actually in her bedroom. I love that they have like a bigger cage than your actual bed itself, or just as equal, which is really, really nice. But nice to know that you are spoiling your piggies. They are seriously so cute. Saasu and Pappas, love that name, super adorable and unique. But from the looks of it, your cage looks really, really cool. I love the little lights in the back. It creates a really great ambiance when it comes to the cage itself. They have a kind of hay pile, which is really awesome. I think that I actually want to transfer my pigs to hay piles very, very soon, especially for the ones that are messy, just because having the litter box, it's not really serving a purpose because they just throw it outside of it anyway. So I'm definitely going to try that out with some of my pigs. So let me know if it actually works for you down in the comments below. But they've got two little grass Timothy hide huts. One is actually a hide hut itself, and then one is a tunnel. And then you've also got a hammock with two water bottles, and then some other kind of toys scattered throughout there, a fiddlestick tunnel, and then also another kitchen area. I really do appreciate that you have two kitchen areas. I think when it comes to boars as well, they can get very territorial over anything. So having two areas where they can kind of munch down on some hay and eat away from each other really helps to keep the peace. But again, your cage is a really great size, so I'm sure there's not that many fights that go on between the two of them. And it also looks like you have chloroplast on a 2x4 side of the cage, and then also for that little 2x1 kitchen area. And then the rest is just, I believe, plain fleece on the other side. I would assume that you have some type of protective layer underneath it, just because I'm sure you don't want any pee ending up on your carpet. But from the looks of it, you are doing an awesome job. I seriously have like zero critiques. I think your piggies are living an awesome life, and you are going above and beyond for your piggy's life. So I'm sure that you got some happy boys in your hand, but nonetheless, thank you so much for submitting. Moving on to our next cage, it comes from Melanie, and she lives in the Netherlands with her 6 pigs. Their names are Bose, Kim, Chloe, Buddy, Kendall, and Kylie. I believe you got those names from the Kardashians. Her female Kim and her neutered boar Bose, or Bose, I believe it's Bose, live in the top cage, which is a 2x5 CNC. The water bottle in their cage is a bit hard to see, but it's in the bottom left. In the bottom cage, she has Buddy, who's a neutered boar, with Chloe, Kylie, and Kendall. They are recently bonded, and I will get a water bottle and another litter box in the mail soon. The bottom cage is a bit tiny, longer than a 2x5 CNC cage. Right off the bat, your cage is like such an aesthetic and a vibe. The colors that you have going on is so cute. I definitely know that Autumn would appreciate this because she loves this kind of vibe with the colors, with the pink especially. But the top one looks really good. Looks really great. I don't have any critiques for you. A 2x5 is an awesome cage size for 2 piggies, especially when it comes to a neutered male and also a female. That little pink cube Heidi house is literally so cute. Let me know in the comments below where you got that from, because I would love to buy that, or even 2, try to make that for myself. I believe those bath mats are possibly from IKEA or Target. I'm not sure if you guys have Target over in the Netherlands. You've got 2 little hay areas, one with a litter box and then one with a hay bag, which is really awesome. You've got a really cute wooden hide house, actually 2 of them right across from each other, which is really awesome. And then their pellet dishes, and then also their water bottle on the far left. I think this is an awesome setup for them. I just think this is a vibe. This is really great. Just be careful about the lights that are draped over around the cage. Just make sure they can't get to them. Those are a little bit better just because they're the bulbous ones, so they can't actually chew on those, only the wire. So if you could, I probably would just move all the lights on the outside, and you can just attach them with zip ties. And then moving on to the bottom cage, which is, what did you say? It was a 3x5, and you have your 4 pigs in there. You've got some DIY hides with the cardboard boxes, which is really awesome. You've got 2 fiddlestick tunnels, toys, another tunnel, kind of like a little fleece one. Also a little bear one, which is really cute. And then you've got 2 hay areas, which is definitely necessary when it comes to having multiple pigs in one cage. I really do actually like the hay rack on the far right side. I think the spacing of the actual hay rack itself is big enough for them to not actually have to work for their hay. So I think it works really well. And then they also have the option of going in the litter box and burrowing. I guess there's no really easy way to kind of set up your cage when it comes to the fleece with those legs in the actual cage itself. So I think you're doing the best way possible when it comes to that.